Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dory, back with another episode of Dory's Helpful Hints. I'm sorry it's been so long between this and my last video, but my granddaughter was born September 16th. So I am officially a grandma for the first time, and since they all live with me, I've been taking my turn with the baby. So it's been kind of hectic, as you can imagine. In addition to that, for some reason I thought it was a fabulous idea to foster 4 kittens. I got them the week before she was born, and they were 5 weeks old. So I still have them. So it's been kind of a zoo with the animals that I already had, but the more the merrier, right? Okay, so today, what I've done for you today is I got to thinking about how I've had all these palettes done. And there are actually some common threads that run through all these palettes. Now, I've taken the ones that there are commonalities with. As you guys know, I was draped as a bright winter in Sci Art. There are only 1 or 2 colors that translate into the palette that I got from John Kitchner and these other palettes that I have. And then I've been typed online as various cool seasons. And I think that's pretty typical, because the more I work with these images, the more I work with things on the computer. I've got a Photoshop program now where I can pull color out, and honestly and truthfully, anytime you have any shading or shadowing of any kind, whether you're in a bedroom, in a room with the light coming in on you, there's always going to be a blued quality. It's going to make you cooler than you actually are. I like John's philosophy. If you're going to do something online for him, unlike other consultants who tell you stay out of bright sunlight, he has you take pictures in direct sunlight between the hours of 9 and 11 a.m. and then send them to him. And he gets very accurate results that way, and I think that that's an awesome thing to do. But I wanted to share with you some of the clues that I had or should have seen and didn't until I went through this gamut of color analysis, finally ending with John Kitchner, who I think gave me the closure that I'd been looking for. And I finally had gotten 2 consultants to say the same season, which was also amazing. 2 in-person consultants, not online, because I was a winter in several online consults. So a while ago, one of the first things that I got that I thought was giving me clarity were these cards that I got from Jen Thoden. These cards have the bright and warm, muted and warm, bright and cool, and muted and cool. And actually, when I did these cards, my whole family agreed that muted and warm was the better option for me, that the brights were too bright. But it was a toss-up at some point between that and the muted and cool. And interestingly enough, my colors here from John resonate with the muted and warm and muted and cool cards, because they don't necessarily in these systems go warm or cool. They do a smattering of both, because nobody is exclusively typically one or the other. So the muted and warm actually matches this pretty well. This is the palette that I got from Rochelle Hirsch. There are some colors that resonate with the muted and warm, but this palette does tend to resonate better with the bright and warm colors. So it is brighter than John's palette for me in a lot of respects. Also, there are not a lot of colors in this palette. I think I've said before, these colors translate. Some of these colors here translate. John's colors here for me are a little bit more shaded, because I'm 70% lively bright and 30% earthy rich in that system. So these are a little too bright for me. He doesn't do skin tone, so I don't have an exact match for my skin tone, but the colors that he gave me for my lighter bases would be these colors here. But by and large, these purples and these greens and some of these are brighter than the colors that I have in my other palettes. So I thought you guys would be interested in this. The palette that I got from David Zyla, who actually did work with Suzanne, although he did not take any of her classes on learning how to do palettes the way she did. He did take her client classes, so he has a background in that, and she actually did his colors, I found out, which I thought was amazing. And the palette that I got done from Anne, which was a Tawny Autumn palette, that's grounded in the same Suzanne Caygill system. And then John Kitchner's system, the person who originally started the company that he now runs, was a student of Suzanne Caygill's. So there's kind of a cohesion there that I like. So my romantic colors I found interesting. These are my romantic colors from John. These are my romantic colors, some of them from Anne. Anne's colors, by and large, match these. The ones that don't are a little bit browner because it's more of an autumn palette, and she has me going much darker than John has. So John has, they've got all the mid-tones the same. So Tawny Autumn and one of my romantic colors from John. And then another set of romantic colors from John and my Tawny Autumn palette from Anne. I found this all so fascinating. My power colors, whoops. This is my power colors from Anne. These are dramatic colors, which would be also power colors from David Zyla. Match, and excuse me, I dropped a swatch. This would be tranquil colors from David Zyla, which John told me were definitely my power colors. So all of these tranquils actually resonate that I got from David with John's palette for me. So my tranquils were my power color. And this I found particularly interesting because when I would put on these colors that David gave me as a tranquil color, I did not feel tranquil. I felt energized and enlivened, which would go along with the power color. So John was right on with this. What John gave me for my tranquil color was these calm blues that are a match for the colors in my eyes. This is the eye color that I got from Anne. So they're a little bit deeper, but along the same lines. I did not get yellows from Anne, but she gave me these golds, which kind of go along with the deeper colors of yellow that I got from John. So again, very close. David Zyla's romantic colors for me, which I felt like I really couldn't wear. I was surprised at how well they harmonize with the sophisticated colors, the purples, the plums that I got from John. So David's colors do come into play in this palette. They're just not my romantic colors. They're sophisticated colors. Some of the base colors, the first base colors that I got, and not the purple blues. I had said before in others that I couldn't do purple blue. But these deeper blues do match with some of the blue understated colors that I got from John. And it's funny, I had this palette for so long and I thought I had no blues. And I was really surprised when I went back and revisited this that these are blues. I completely looked right past them. So these darker blues are in here. This one here. These are my first bases and energy colors. The rest of these energy colors, this is the only blue that I got in my energy color. The rest of the energy colors are those purpley blues that I absolutely cannot wear. So my bases, my second base hair color, this was David's hair color for me, and it kind of falls in line here. He's got the gray, which does not reflect on this card, but I do have some grays that kind of resonate with that on another card. And then these are the hair colors that I got from Anne. This one resonates really, really well. This was the original one she gave me, but my hair is darker than that, so when she sent me this one, which would equate to an exotic autumn, it is a little bit richer, a little bit warmer than what I actually got from John. Another reserved color, this is what I got from Anne. and it matches pretty well to what I got from John. And then we also have these two. So I find this fascinating that I got, these are my third bases from David, so the grays are represented here, although his are a bit cooler. And then I did get black from David, although I did not get black from Anne. And then this is the my white, my version of white in both Anne's palette and John's palette. So my takeaway from this is, in David's system I was a summer, in Anne's I was an autumn, in John's I am a spring. If we do away with the labels of seasons, which, and John doesn't do, I should take that out because John doesn't go by season, he goes by color harmonies. And when you're a mix of harmonies, you're not going to come out a pure season, where like in Dressing Your Truth, type 1s are all tints and they're bright, and that doesn't work. And springs, Jen Thoden, I was reading on her website to try and determine whether you're a spring or an autumn, and if you have brown hair, you can't be a spring, which I think is way too rigid and structured, because most systems allow for springs who are brunettes. So unless you're in one of these box systems like that, if we can stop trying to wrap our mind around the fact that we are a season and just look at colors and how they work on us and what kind of tones and resonance we're looking for, because these are 3 palettes that I discounted, even though I knew that there were some colors in each. And I discounted because the dark colors seemed so dark and so somber that I knew I wouldn't be able to wear them. But there are all these other colors that I just showed you that work just fine, and I discarded the whole palette. The same thing with David's, because I kept trying to wear romantic colors and I didn't feel romantic, and I felt like they were too blue and I felt like they were too somber. For me, I discounted the whole palette. There are things that are going to work. And honestly, for me, these cards, because everybody kept saying, cool, 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 cool. And when I ordered these cards from Jen Thoden and I held them up to my face, it's the first time my family's agreed on anything. They all agreed that the softer, warm colors looked better on me. That was the first time that I actually had a definitive, okay, I skew warm. They did kind of vacillate a little bit, depending on the level of tan, between the warm, cool, the warm muted and the cool muted. But these definitely worked better for me, and this one more so than the other bright cards, even though everybody was telling me that I was bright and I was cool, based on photos, based on online, Facebook skews blue. Any kind of photo that you take outside that's shaded at all is going to skew blue. So look at, if you've been done in person and you come out with kind of similar colors, then there's going to be an underlying factor that you can grab onto and say, this is truth. And for me, that soft warm, that was my moment of truth, where I knew that that's the direction that I needed to go. Before I got any of these other palettes, I knew for me, that's the way that I needed to go. So I hope you guys found this educational and interesting. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon. Hopefully the baby will let me get some sleep. Thanks guys, have a great week.